Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at this time, 7:59 a.m. Central, just a minute or so before the top of the hour. And it is Friday, September 10th, 2021. The topic today is going to be more implementation, training, and clarity. So if you're a white label partner, this is especially important to you. But frankly, even if you're just an affiliate referral partner, it's good for you to know what we're going to be doing with your clients. So I have my screen split, and on the left-hand side, we're actually logged into Live Plan. So I'll talk about that, and that's where we're going to spend most of our time this morning. But let's go over to the right-hand side of the screen for a moment, make sure that we know where we're at in the process, and then we'll dig in. So if you want to be a white label partner, that's fine. If you don't want to be, that's fine too. It doesn't cost anything. You get to set client pricing, client terms. You control the client process. We provide the turnkey program, including the Live Plan. We pay for Live Plan for every one of your clients. There's training videos here, but none of this is really the focus. The focus is once you've submitted the client here, client submission form, let's make sure, and there's not a change here. I just want to make sure we know what's going to happen. So we're on this paragraph here. So once you submitted a client through the submission form, then what's going to happen is we're going to set the client up. That means we're going to send you, not them, we're going to send you, the white label partner, an email that has 4 pieces of information on it. Number 1 is their name. Number 2 is their email. Of course, you should already know that, but this is how we can confirm who we're setting up. Number 3 would be their Live Plan access, which of course ties into our message today, which we'll get to momentarily, and then which is referenced here, and then also their Dropbox folder. So with that being said, well, let's continue on. So you're going to get a setup email with that. We're not emailing it to the client if you're a white label partner. If the client is coming to you as a white label client, we're emailing you. So then you would be able to share with them their Live Plan link. You'd also have access to it. You'd be able to share it with them, the Dropbox. You'd also have access to it. Now, right afterwards, almost immediately afterwards, then we're going to send the app, the funding app for the first tranche financing from Adobe. It's going to come out in a white label format. We will send it to the client. It'll copy you. And that's what you want to really encourage them to do, is to go ahead and complete that app, because with that app, we can find out what type of funding, first tranche financing, that they qualify for. Through Adobe, it'll be set up to give them daily reminders. So as long as you gave us a good email address, which will be confirmed in the setup email, then they'll get the daily reminders. And so we want to get these clients their first tranche of financing, first round of funding, as soon as possible. That's going to be positive reinforcement for them, and also for you. It's going to allow you to get your deposit from the client as quickly as possible. You set what the deposit is, as we set up top, but normally it's $2,500. So once they're funded, then you would invoice them the $2,500 and they would pay you. So with that, then there's a 4-week well, let me rephrase that. I'm wrong. There's a 4-module curriculum. When we implement clients internally, we happen to do a module a week. So I often will slip up and say it's a 4-week process. So if we're implementing the client, which means they're not a white label client, then we do a lesson, a module a week. However, if it's a white label client, you can go much faster or go much slower. That's up to you. So what you'll find here on the white label page is what we're covering in each module, the white label. So it's generic training video. You have access to the participant guides and instructor guides. You can go into as much detail as you desire. Now, what ties into module 1 is the Live Plan, which again is our main topic today, but I want to hit one other point and then we'll dig into Live Plan. On module 2 on credit, you should be helping them complete their soft credit pull using this link. And again, we're not sending them this link, right? If they're a white label client, we set them up, we sent you the email, you're expected to coordinate their process through. And so certainly as soon as possible, but obviously within module 2, you want to get them to complete the soft credit pull. Well, why do we want that? Well, because that allows us, it's important data for us to understand about the client's credibility. And if we see that they're lacking any of the 3 C's on a personal level, then most likely we'll reach out to you and say, this client would be a really good fit for the TCR, the Total Credit Rebuild Program. So just don't forget, and you can do this immediately if you want to have them do the soft credit pull, but as soon as possible, that data coming in allows us to understand what we're working with and what might need to be done as we prepare them for funding. So by the time you get to module 4, this is where you're helping them upload the documents into the Dropbox folder that we provided you in the setup email. It's not all or nothing. We know that not everyone has everything, and you just want to help them upload what they do have. So with that preface, let's go ahead and dig into Live Plan, and I'll make that screen larger so we can see it. So Live Plan, how do they get Live Plan? You submit them, we do the setup email to you, 4 pieces of information, right? Their name, their email, Live Plan link, which is what we're on, Dropbox link. So then they'll be able to click into this and you'll be able to access it as well. When they first come into it, there are different tabs and they'll be able to navigate to whichever tab that they would like. We're going to go through what's most important. Now, again, don't feel that I'm putting a bunch of burden on you saying, oh, you've got to spend 10 hours or 20 hours helping them do their Live Plan. It's up to you. Live Plan, as I'll show you, is rather intuitive to use. And so it's fine if you want to just get them logged in and allow them to work on it on their own. Some of you are providing more hand-holding, more coaching. Some of you are even teaching or guiding people through it in a group format. As a white label partner, that is up to you. With that being said, a business plan is part of a loan package, and it helps both the business owner, your client, kind of refine through and vet through ideas, which we'll talk about content here in a moment, but it's especially important so we can convey the message to the lender, because while your clients are smart and they know probably everything there is about their business, the lender or the prospective lenders know nothing. And this is a very common way of it's business communication, how we're able to provide information about the concept of the business and the growth projections, the amount of funds needed, what it's going to be used for, to external parties so we can secure funding. With that being said, it's true that different sources of capital have different underwriting criteria. And truthfully, there's some that don't look at business plans at all. There are some that a very superficial business plan is fine, and then some need great detail. Well, in the front end of this process, we don't know where each client's going to fall because we need to gather the data in the Dropbox to be able to start to create a capital raise strategy. So here's the first very important point I want to clarify. When the client is going through this, don't let them become stressed or overwhelmed. Just say, you're smart. This is actually Glenn Payne's Live Plan. Mr. Payne, don't be stressed. Don't be frustrated. We just need to get out of what's in your head and get it on paper, or specifically in Live Plan, so we can understand it and so the lender can understand it. So what you're doing is you're trying to remove the stress or potential frustration of the client, because there's some of these sections, which we're going to go through momentarily, the client might not understand, and it's okay. They should just do what they can do for now. And again, it's up to you to gauge how involved you want to be in the mentoring. Essentially, from our perspective, we want the client to put whatever data they can to do their best. And then you're going to I'll show you can export it, but it'll be uploaded into that Dropbox. And that may be good enough based upon the type of capital raise that we're recommending. It may not be good enough. It may be that there needs to be more embellishment, more information, and then we can help you help them at that point. Okay, so of the tabs, the pitch is what I'm least concerned about. Now, human nature is people log in and they tend to work from the left to the right, but the pitch is not important, but they're not as important. There's a video, and then once you hit get started, it digs in. We'll go ahead and take a look at it. The pitch provides kind of that one-pager summary. And while it's nice and it could be useful, it's not integral to us building the loan package. So what I would ask is, don't encourage your client to focus here, because there's other areas that's much more important, but certainly this is available to them. Now, the plan is very important. Actually, the two most important tabs are the plan and the forecast. The plan is where we put our words, and the forecast is where we put our numbers, our projections. With the forecast, as we put numbers in, some of that will be forwarded automatically into the plan in terms of tables and charts. So it's all very integrated, as you would expect. So the first time that a client logs in, they'll have these videos. So for example, on pitch, I click that video, they can go back and see the video again, but now it's cleared out that they're actually in it. But there's an option to go back and watch the videos. Well, I'll find that, but you can always go back and watch the videos. So just for instance, on Glenn, and I chose his because I didn't want to show any private information. He hadn't started on his yet, so that's why I pulled his up. But I know that Glenn never started his business plan or his forecast, because the videos are showing the help centers where you can get that, I should have said, but which is over here. But if the video is showing, it means that in this case, Glenn never even started. But so the video's there, we're going to skip over that. You can go in and watch the videos if you want. So on the plan, we have this outline, and the major headings are executive summary, opportunity, execution, company, and financial plan. Within each heading, then there's subsections like opportunity and expectations under executive summary. So let's just start from the top. So we go into executive summary, and it's problem, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what this means. Well, when we click the edit box, it gives us instructions. We can get examples. It's very user friendly. They can copy and paste if they have the content, or they can just type it right in. And then once they hit I'm done, then it saves it, and so it'll show here. It allows you and I to be able to go in and make comments. Great start, but we need to finish this section. And so then that'll post so the client would see it. So each section, you just simply click edit, there's instructions, there's examples, and then they put it in. One of the most important areas that we want to concentrate on is at the very bottom of the executive summary, which is financing needed. The financing needed section is where the client very specifically states how much capital they're seeking, and maybe it's 100,000, maybe it's $1 million, whatever it is. And it also needs to clarify what it is going to be used for. So it's kind of like a shopping list. What we can't do, what we shouldn't do, I don't want to say can't, that's too strong. It's just for a client to say, okay, I just want $100,000. That's what I was told. I just want 100,000. Well, what are you going to use the 100,000 for? I don't know. So we're going to go to a bank and say, we'd like 100,000 to start or grow a business, but I don't really know what we're going to use it for. Obviously, that's not going to fly. So the client has to spell out, what is it going to be used for? Maybe I need 50,000 for working capital. Maybe I need 25,000 for equipment, but we would be specific. What is the equipment? Because some of these items can serve as collateral, which helps foster the funding of the loan. Maybe I need 25,000 for marketing and advertising. So you would argue, let's say you and I are going to go to Walmart, Target, Sam's, wherever we're going to go shopping. Well, how much money do we need for the shopping trip? Depends on what's on our list. So frankly, it's through the list that we would come up with the top number. The point that I'm trying to make is this is crucial, because both for us to create a capital raise strategy and also for the lender, they need to know, sure, the business plan tells a whole lot about a number of different things, which we'll continue to look at over the next few minutes. But ultimately, how much capital are we looking for, and what are we going to use that money for? So there's the financing needed section. So then we get down to the opportunity. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and go through the executive summary. So it states the problem, and the problem isn't, oh, I don't have enough money. The problem is, what does your business do? So for instance, for us, the problem is that most entrepreneurs lack adequate access to capital to start or grow a business. So that's the problem that we're solving. And our solution is our access to capital program provides a guaranteed minimum of 100,000 to any small business to start and grow, without minimum credit scores, without minimum time in business to enroll. So that's examples of problem and solution, not what your problem is, but why does the world need your business? Market is talking about, well, who do we target? Who is it that we're serving? Is it, in our case, is it small businesses just in Texas? Is it small businesses just in the Southwest? Is it small businesses across the United States? Is it pre-launch? Is it startup? Is it existing? Is it certain industries? We want to be able to convey to the reader who our target market is, because that's who we need to reach out to. That's where our customers come from. Our competition, of course, is who else is doing this. Could be a direct or indirect competitor. What makes us different? And then we get into forecasting. Again, some of this will import in from the numbers, but you can see that there's instructions on the left. Again, this chart will import in from the forecast tab, and then the financing needed. So then we get over to opportunity, and it's going to have some overlap with the executive summary, because the executive summary is the executive summary. Now we're going into the meat of the business plan with more details. What's the problem we're solving? Again, there's full explanations, so people don't have to be an expert in it, what our solution is, and then digging in market size and segments of our target market, more details on competition and our advantages. So is it redundant? Well, understand the executive summary is a summary. So theoretically, what you could do is do the executive summary last, do these other sections first, and then you'll just do kind of an excerpt out of those to populate the executive summary. Execution describes what our marketing plan is, our sales plan, locations and facilities, technology, equipment and tools, any specific milestones or metrics we want to put in. We have company information, who are the owners and what's the structure, management team. Advisors is great because you should be one of their advisors. Every small business should have a CPA that they're working with. We recommend that small businesses also have an insurance agent that they're working with. So this doesn't mean their board of directors, but who their advisors are, and this can strengthen the plan. Then we get down to the financial. What are the key assumptions that we're going to make? And then some of these are going to be charts that, again, come in from the forecast, which we'll look at in a moment. So revenue and expenses, and of course, the difference between revenue and expenses is profit. Here, I want to drill down a little bit more closely. So as we talked about in the executive summary, what are we going to use the money for? That's use of funds. So we can't just say we want 100,000 just because we want 100,000. That's what someone told me I could get. Well, that's not the way we plan. We need to say we need 100,000 for the following. So that's where we're breaking it down. Source of funds is an interesting concept that confused some people. So let's say that we need 100,000. Well, source of funds is where it breaks down. Well, where is that going to come from? How much am I contributing as the owner? How much am I seeking to borrow, and so forth? And again, there's an explanation. So uses of funds and sources of funds are important. And then we have some statements that are going to come in, again, from the forecast tab, which we'll look at in a moment. And there's flexibility. The client can edit the outline. Okay, so on the forecast, again, there's a video. We recommend that they watch the video. Once they watch the video, it won't pop up when they click on it again, but they can always go back to the help center. We'll skip over the video. And then it's just very intuitive. And again, if you've not gone through this as a client, we encourage you to do that. I mean, you should have a plan, regardless if you're an affiliate or a white label partner, whether you're doing this full-time or part-time. Having a plan greatly increases your probability of success. And then secondly, you will have walked through it, and we can go through it with you, and then you'll be prepared to go through it with your clients. But anyway, what we would add revenue streams and cost and personnel. And again, some of these may not apply. Maybe they're not going to have any personnel. Expenses, assets, taxes, dividends, if applicable, if we're going to pay out to shareholders, cash flow assumptions, and then financing. We're able to create a profit and loss, a balance sheet, and a cash flow. Now, keep in mind that these financial statements, these three, which are very important, are forward-looking. They're projections. Separate from that, we're going to be collecting historical from them, which is usually generated through QuickBooks. We've seen a number of clients not have financial statements, and we can create those for them. We've put together a QuickBooks reporting package. So if they want us, including if they're a white label partner, and if you're not able to do it or don't want to do it, if you want us to create their financial statements, their historical, we can do that. So with that being said, what we've covered is LivePlan is the cloud-based software that we pay for. You don't pay for, your client doesn't pay for all of your white label clients, or those of you that are affiliates, we provide it free to them, and then we're working with them. What we clarified is that there are two tabs that are the most important: the plan and the forecast. Now, depending upon how sophisticated you and or your client are, you can get really involved. You can create different scenarios. We can say, let's create, we're going to copy the original scenario, and then we're going to put together an optimistic scenario. So now we've got one set of expectations that's normal, if we think things go just normal. But let's say we get a big contract or something goes really our way, then we could have another set. So we can actually create different scenarios based on different assumptions, if you will. Okay, so I want to dig into your questions. And so I just want to preface it with, if you're a white label partner, you need to at least be able to point your clients into LivePlan and provide them the link that we've provided you. If you want to be more involved with them, you can, but you're not required to do so. Ultimately, what we're asking them to do is to dump what's in their head into LivePlan, and we'll see if it's good enough once we're putting the loan package together based on the type of capital that we're going after. If they already have a business plan, do they have to create live plan? No, you can upload the business plan that they have into Dropbox. But one of the first things that we're going to look at that's a go or no go decision is we're going to go to the financial section and we're going to look at their use of funds and their sources of funds. So even if they already have an existing business plan or if they don't want to use live plan, those are instrumental. We're also going to need to see future financial projections so we can show lenders and understand ourselves how much money this business is going to make and be able to have confidence that it can repay the debt that it wishes to borrow. We talk about the 3 C's frequently, right? Credit, cash flow, collateral. Well, that applies to the person and that applies to the business. What we're talking about today is the business. So we're looking at the cash flow of the business. We can look at the business credit of the business. We can look at the collateral that the business brings. Well, what if it's a startup, you might say? What if they don't have any of those things for the business? Well, great. Enroll them and we'll help them build those 3 C's. On the individual side, we have a different approach. It's called the Total Credit Rebuild, TCR, that we use for building the 3 C's, and I can bring that up for you. So the access to capital builds out the 3 C's and gets the business ready for funding. The Total Credit Rebuild addresses the 3 C's of the individual owner or owners. Anyone with 20% or more ownership will usually need to guarantee the debt, depending upon the type of debt. So if it's a traditional loan, then unless the business is strong enough to stand on its own, then they'll typically be business guarantee, personal guarantees. But do all sources of capital require personal guarantees? Of course not. Okay, so let's get into your questions, comments, concerns. Okay, so Dennis is asking about the $2,500 deposit. So let's go back to where we were. And so as a white label partner, you decide how much the deposit is, Dennis, and you could make it more or less than $2,500, and you can make it refundable or non-refundable. That is up to you as the white label partner. You, as a white label partner, you're contracting with the client. Now, in contrast, if you're an affiliate, then you're just referring folks in. We provide you a free landing page. Looks just like this. You just refer folks in, and then we're doing all the work, and they're following our standard agreement. So the answer to your question is, Dennis, twofold. If you're a white label partner, you determine the deposit, you determine if it's refundable or not, you determine the amount. That is completely up to you. It's your client. It's your client, Dennis. Okay, and Dennis, feel free to follow up if I didn't cover it. All right, so Dion says he called some old leads and 2 of them. Okay, so I think what Dion's getting to, without confusing you all or me, is as a white label partner, you submit in the clients and then we do the setup as we talked about. Now, you would not submit a client in if they're not your client. You don't submit leads here, right? And Dion knows this. You don't submit leads, you submit clients. That's why it clarifies, right? Because this means that we're now going to spend time, money, and energy doing the back end, doing our work, like buying live plan for them, setting them up. So you wouldn't want to submit someone that is not confirmed with you. Now, you can do a written agreement, which we recommend. You can do an oral agreement with them. That's up to you. But that's right, Dion. You submit them here once they're ready to be implemented. White label partners, we don't provide landing pages for. Now, you probably are, many of you are working with Scott, our Chief Marketing Officer, to develop landing pages and follow-up sequences and all of that. That's fine. But once you're ready to submit the client, this is the only place that you submit clients. And this is tied into our CRM, and then we're off and going. So let me know, Dion, if if that didn't answer your question. Okay, so does anyone else have questions regarding the implementation process? So if you're a white label partner, the training videos that you need to be familiar with are here. The submission form is here. The process is here. The implementation resources are here. I think pretty much everything that you would need to implement as a white label partner is on this page. Does anyone have any questions about live plan or the implementation process that we've talked about? And Tim's asking a good question. So yes, Tim, as soon as you can, go ahead and help them complete the soft credit pull. Because the sooner that we have that data, the sooner that we and you can look at and say, okay, are there any credibility issues with the owner or owners, the 3 C's? If so, then we need to make a decision. We either need to use sources of capital that are not going to consider their credibility issues, their credit, cash flow, or collateral, or you and I need to work on addressing those 3 C's, and we can certainly do that very quickly through the total credit rebuild. So I think what Timothy's getting at, just so the rest of you have the same light bulb going off, many of the clients that we come to are going to have credibility issues, and that's fine. If they didn't, they would just go to the bank and they'd get funding. They might not need you and I in the program. So those that do, we can best identify that through the soft pull. Then we will contact you and say, okay, Timothy, looks like your client, who was it, Glenn Payne, looks like Glenn has some credibility issues. It looks like that Glenn would really benefit from the total credit rebuild. Why don't you go ahead and visit with him about that? Well, this is another service, it's another resource, and it's another revenue stream. So then you can submit, in this example, Timothy could submit Glenn here. And as you know from the training that we did, and the trainings on this page here, this video, that you get to pick what your commission is off of the TCR program. So if you wanted to make an extra $100 by them enrolling in TCR, great. You would just let us know that in the message field. If you want to make an extra 500, extra 1,000, literally you pick the commission that you make. So with that, are there any other questions that anyone has about what we covered today, which is making sure you're familiar with the implementation process, how live plan works, how you can assist them, how you determine how involved you want to be with their live plan development? Anyone else have any questions on that? All right, so Dennis is asking if this is government funded. No, this is not government funded. Thank you for that, Dennis. Any other questions that anyone has that I can assist you with today? Okay. So we know what we need to do. We need to be submitting in at least 1 deal a day, 30 during the month of September. Super simple to do. We've talked about leads. Yesterday, we went through a bunch of free lead sources. There's a nearly infinite number of people and entrepreneurs that want capital to start and grow a business. Just average 1 a day, 30 during the month of September. That'll generate obviously great income for you, but also will qualify you for the incentive trip, which is we're paying for your hotel, paying for your airfare, paying for an awesome meal. We're going to all get together on Saturday evening to network and celebrate. So just make sure you're on track for 1 a day in September. Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.